I want you to be completely honest with yourself right now. Look at your life. Look at your goals. Look at the dreams you've had whispered in the dark, the ones you've promised yourself you'll chase, the ones you've held close but haven't dared to fight for. Why haven't you started? Why haven't you pushed? Why are you still standing in the same place, waiting for something outside of yourself to change, waiting for someone to hand you permission, waiting for motivation to magically appear like a gift from the sky? The truth is brutal, but it's the truth. It's not the world holding you back. It's not the economy. It's not opportunity. It's not luck. It's you. Laziness is sitting inside you like a parasite, feeding on your potential, stealing your energy, hiding your greatness, convincing you that rest, delay, and comfort are more important than action. And every second you let it win is a second of your life lost forever. I want you to understand something before we go any further. Laziness is not weakness. Laziness is not shame. Laziness is a choice, a subtle, dangerous choice you make every day. When you let hesitation, comfort, or fear dictate your actions, it whispers in your ear. It distracts you. It tells you that you're okay with average. It convinces you that you're okay with average. It convinces you that you'll start tomorrow. And the moment you believe it, the moment you let it control you, your dreams shrink, your potential fades, and your life becomes smaller than you deserve. But here's the power in this moment. You are still reading. You are still listening. You are still alive. And because of that, you still have a choice. You can either let laziness win today, or you can destroy it right here, right now for good. And make no mistake, this is not going to be comfortable. This is not going to be easy. Nothing worth having is, if you want to destroy laziness, you have to face the truth about yourself, about your habits, about your excuses, and about the way you've been lying to yourself for years. You have to stare into the mirror and see the person who is capable of more, the person who is tired of waiting, the person who is tired of waiting, the person who refuses to let another moment of life slip by in delayed distraction or hesitation. You have to realize that greatness doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who act relentlessly, consistently, and unapologetically. Consistently and unapologetically. I want you to feel it in your bones right now. The fire, the tension, the realization that you are either going to take control today or keep watching your dreams drift further away. This is the moment where excuses end. This is the moment where comfort. This is the moment where the person who has been hiding behind hesitation finally rises. If you leave this moment unchanged, nothing will change. But if you commit, if you lean in, if you decide to destroy the laziness inside you, everything will change. And I promise you, by the end of this message, you will feel a hunger, a fire, a relentless drive that will not allow you to sit idle ever again. So open your mind, open your heart, and get ready, because everything you thought about limits, comfort, and waiting is about to be shattered. Your laziness is now. Your action begins now. Your life changes now. You cannot destroy what you refuse to see. You cannot break a habit if you are still hiding behind excuses, lies, and convenient distractions. The first step in destroying the laziness inside you is brutal, relentless honesty. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and admit it. Admit that the life you are living right now is not the life you are capable of living. Admit that your dreams are waiting for you, but your body and mind have been giving in to comfort, avoiding struggle, hiding behind screens, procrastination, and a dog fight behind screens, procrastination, and the illusion of busyness. Laziness is not just a physical thing. It is mental. It is spiritual. It lives in your mind first. It whispers to you, you'll start tomorrow. You've earned a break. You can skip this one task, and you let it. You let it because it is easy. It is safe. It does not challenge you. It does not demand anything of you. It does not confront your fear of failure or your fear of pain. Acknowledging your laziness means ripping off that mask and facing the truth. It means telling yourself, I have been lying to myself. I have been settling for less. I have been lazy, and it has cost me more than I want to admit. This is uncomfortable. It is supposed to be uncomfortable because laziness loves comfort. Laziness thrives on easy, quiet, painless, and invisible surrender. But here's the thing. Comfort will never make you great. Comfort will never make you excel. Comfort will never make you a champion, a legend, or someone who inspires others to push past their limits, to acknowledge your laziness, you have to feel the weight of it. You have to let it hit you. Let it sink in. Let it stink and let it stink. Think about all the hours, the minutes, the opportunities, the moments that you have let slip away because you chose to scroll, to sleep, to postpone, to do the bare minimum. Feel that loss and let it ignite something in you. Let it burn so deep inside that you cannot go another day pretending you are doing enough, pretending that your effort is adequate, when in reality you have been hiding behind excuses. The difference between who you are now and who you could be is not luck, it is action. And the first action is acknowledging where you have failed yourself. No one else can do it for you. No one else can tell you the truth about your own life. You must speak it. You must speak it. You must own it. You must accept that. Yes, you have been lazy. Yes, you have been avoiding responsibility. Yes, you have been choosing comfort over greatness. And if you do not change right now, tomorrow will look the same. And the day after that will look the same. And then a year from now, you will wonder how the life you dreamed of passed you by while you were sitting on your own excuses. Acknowledging your laziness is also about recognizing the patterns, the triggers, the moments when you give in. Maybe it is waking up in the morning and hitting snooze. Maybe it is opening your phone instead of opening a book. Maybe it is scrolling through social media instead of working on your craft. Maybe it is saying I'm too tired instead of pushing through the fatigue that comes with growth. Acknowledging laziness means becoming aware of these choices, seeing them clearly, and refusing to justify them. You cannot destroy laziness with self-pity. You cannot defeat it with denial. You must see it, name it, and confront it without apology. Say it out loud. I am lazy. I am not working at the level I need to work at. I am not living the life I say I want to live because I have been giving in to comfort, fear, and delay. This is not weakness. This is courage. This is courage. It takes courage to face yourself. It takes courage to stop lying to yourself. It takes courage to feel the shame, to feel the regret, to feel the sting of knowing that you have been better than this, that you have had the potential to be better than this, and yet you chose not to rise. But acknowledgement is not enough if it does not come with action. Seeing laziness is the first step. Taking responsibility for it is the next. When you admit it, when you face it, when you let yourself feel the pain of it, you are preparing for the fire that will forge you into someone new. The moment you stop making excuses and start telling the truth, your mind shifts. You go from a P. Ronson who hides from your own potential to a person who confronts it. Laziness is comfortable because it allows you to be a spectator in your own life. You watch the world move. You watch others grow. You watch dreams get realized and you stand still. The first step to destroying it is to get off the sidelines and recognize that you have been standing there too long. Recognize that every second spent avoiding action is a second wasted forever. Time is your most valuable asset and laziness steals it silently. It does not knock. It does not announce itself. It does not ask for permission. It creeps in and takes what could have been yours. Acknowledgement is the first weapon against it. It is your declaration that you will no longer allow it to dictate your life. Acknowledging laziness also requires brutal honesty with your mind. Stop flattering yourself with excuses about being tired or not in the mood or not today. Stop rationalizing why it is okay to wait. There is no okay. Every second counts. Every day counts. Your goals, your dreams, your future self depends on the decisions you make today. Laziness is the enemy that disguises itself as safety and rest, but it is actually destruction. To acknowledge it is to strip away the disguise and see it for what it really is, theft. It steals progress. It steals confidence. It steals pride. It steals confidence. It steals pride. Once you can see it, once you can call it what it is, you have the power to fight it. You cannot fight what you refuse to name. You cannot destroy what you pretend does not exist. But when you look it dead in the eye and say, yes, I have been lazy and I will not be lazy anymore, you begin to take your first real step toward greatness. And here's the truth that will set you on fire. Everyone has laziness inside them. No one escapes it. It does not matter your talent, your education, your network, your resources. Laziness does not discriminate. What separates those who succeed from those who fail is acknowledgement and action. The person who rises, the person who dominates, The person who achieves is the one who recognizes laziness and refuses to allow it to control them. They look at themselves and their habits with surgical precision, dissecting every choice, exposing every moment of weakness, and making a conscious decision to rise above it. They don't hope laziness will disappear. They attack it. They don't wait for motivation to save them. They cultivate discipline. And it all starts with seeing it clearly. Acknowledgement is the spark. Action is the fire. So look at yourself. Be honest. See the ways you have been coasting, the ways you have been settling, the ways you have been settling, the ways you have been letting the best version of yourself slip away. Feel it, own it, name it, but say it aloud. Admit it to no one but yourself if you have to, but do not hide it anymore. This is not a moment for excuses. This is not a moment for delay. This is the moment when you confront the truth. This is the moment when you stop lying to yourself and start preparing to fight. Because once you acknowledge your laziness, once you see it for what it is, you cannot go back to ignoring it. You have drawn the line. You have named the enemy. And from that moment forward, every action you take can be a strike. Every task you complete can be a victory. Every day you push yourself can be proof that laziness no longer rules your life. It is the first step toward a new you, a stronger you, a relentless you. It is the moment you decide that comfort will no longer dictate your destiny, that excuses will no longer define your limits, and that the life you want is worth every ounce of effort you have been avoiding until now. Acknowledging your laziness is the beginning. It is uncomfortable. It is painful. It is real. But it is the only way to start. Wield the unstoppable version of yourself. Every day that you choose to do nothing, you are making a decision. And that decision is costing you. It is costing you time. It is costing you opportunities. It is costing you growth. It is costing you the life you claim you want. Laziness is not innocent. Laziness is not harmless. Laziness is not harmless. It is not a victimless act. Every second you spend sitting idle, scrolling mindlessly, waiting for motivation, waiting for inspiration, waiting for the right moment is a second stolen from your potential. It is a second that could have been used to build yourself, to advance towards your goals, to get closer to the dreams that burn in your heart. And the truth that no one wants to hear is that life does not wait for you. Life does not pause because you are not ready. Life does not care about your comfort, your excuses, or your hesitation. Every moment that passes is a moment that can never be regained. Every moment that you waste doing nothing is a moment that someone else, somewhere else is using to rise, to grow, to dominate, to win. The cost of doing nothing is invisible at first. It sneaks up on you quietly, hiding behind the illusion that you still have time. Tomorrow I will start. You say, next week I will get serious. You tell yourself, I will get to it when I feel ready. You lie. And while you are lying to yourself, life is moving forward. Doors are closing. Opportunities are passing. People are taking steps that you should be taking. They are putting in the work that you should be putting in the work that you should be putting in. And when you finally decide to act, when you finally feel ready, when you finally say, I am going to start now, the world has already shifted. And the gap between you and the life you wanted is wider than it ever should have been. That is the cost of doing nothing. It is not just the lost time. It is the lost advantage, the lost momentum, the lost respect from yourself that comes from showing up consistently. It is the difference between the person you are and the person you could have been. A difference measured in years, in experiences, in achievements. Doing nothing is a luxury that no one can afford, yet so many treat it like it is free. You think that doing nothing will not matter. You think that waiting, delaying, avoiding struggle, staying in comfort is harmless, but it is stealing from your future. Every hour of laziness compounds like interest on a debt you cannot repay. Every skipped workout, every ignored task, every postponed dream is a withdrawal from the life you should be living. It is a debt that is invisible now, but it grows. And eventually it will catch up to you. Eventually the regret will hit. Eventually you will look back on your life and realize how much potential you squandered while you were waiting for something that was never coming. The perfect moment meant motivation. The cost of doing nothing is not just external, it is internal as well. Every time you avoid action, You are weakening your mind, your discipline, your character. Laziness is contagious within yourself. One act of inaction leads to another. One skipped responsibility leads to another. 1 hour of ignoring your goals leads to a day of ignoring your life. You begin to train your brain to accept mediocrity, to accept comfort over effort, to accept excuses over results. And once that mindset takes hold, it becomes easier to continue down the path of doing nothing than to fight your way out. The cost is not just what you lose in the external world. It is what you lose inside yourself. Your confidence erodes, your ambition dims, your pride fades. And one day you wake up and realize you are a shadow of the person you could have been, a person who had dreams, a person who had fire, a person who could have risen but chose to do nothing. The cost of doing nothing is also relational. Laziness affects how people see you, how people value you, how people trust you. If you do not show up, if you do not take responsibility, if you do not put in the work, others will notice. They will notice your hesitation, your procrastination, your avoidance. They will notice that you are not reliable, that you are not driven, that you are not someone who can be counted on. Every time you choose comfort over action, you are teaching others how to treat you. You are teaching them that your dreams are not serious, that your ambition is negotiable, that your effort is optional. And when you finally decide to fight, when you finally decide to act, you will realize that people have moved on, doors have closed, and respect has been lost. Doing nothing has a cost far greater than you imagine because it affects not just your life, but how the world sees your life. And then there is the most painful cost, regret. The cost of doing nothing is regret. In its purest, most unforgiving form, regret is a heavy weight that sits on your chest, that keeps you awake at night, that whispers in your ear when you lie down, that haunts every thought of your potential. Regret is the voice that asks, what if you had tried? What if you had fought? What if you had refused to sit back and let life pass you by? That voice is merciless and it does not forgive. Regret comes not from failing. It comes from avoiding. Regret comes from inaction. Regret comes from comfort, laziness, delay, procrastination, hesitation. And once it settles in, it is nearly impossible to remove. You can achieve, you can fight, you can push, but the scars of lost opportunities, the scars of what could have been, remain. That is the cost of doing nothing. And it is a cost that is permanent unless you decide to act now. But here is the secret that many refuse to believe. You can reverse the cost if you refuse to accept it any longer. You can destroy the impact of doing nothing if you choose to fight with relentless intensity, if you choose to attack your goals with urgency, if you refuse to allow another moment to slip through your fingers. Every action you take today, no matter how small, chips away at the debt of inaction. Every step forward, every task completed, every hour spent building yourself is a payment toward the life you deserve. The cost of doing nothing can be countered by doing something, by acting decisively, by committing fully, by showing up even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is inconvenient, even when it is difficult. So stop telling yourself that waiting is harmless. Stop lying that tomorrow is enough. Stop believing that comfort will not steal your life. Every day you delay, every moment you hesitate, every decision to do nothing is a cost you cannot recover. Time does not pause. Opportunities do not wait. Life will not stop for you to feel ready. The price is high, and it is paid in the currency of lost time, lost momentum, lost confidence, lost respect, and lost dreams. But you have the power to refuse to pay it. You have the power to rise, to act, to dominate, to take control of your life, to refuse laziness, to refuse comfort, to refuse delay. Do something today. Do something now. Attack the tasks you have been avoiding. Confront the challenges you have been running from. Push through the pain you have been avoiding. Show up when you do not feel like it. Work when the world tells you to rest. Fight when your body says quit, because every action you take chips away at the cost of doing nothing. And every day you fight builds the life you were meant to live. The cost of doing nothing is real. It is high. It is ruthless. It is unforgiving. But the choice we had to raise money, a dog fight, silently, day after day, year after year, while life passes you by. Or you can refuse to pay it. You can rise. You can fight. You can destroy the habits, the laziness, the comfort that have been stealing your life. You can reclaim your time, your power, your dreams. But you must start now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, now. Because the cost of doing nothing will not wait for you. And every second you delay is a second lost forever. Motivation is a beautiful thing when it comes, but it is fleeting, fragile, and unreliable. You cannot depend on motivation because it is not consistent. Some days you will feel inspired. Some days you will wake up with fire in your chest. And some days you will not. Some mornings you will want to conquer the world, and other mornings you will want to stay in bed and scroll through distractions until the hours are gone. Motivation is the spark, but it is discipline that is the engine. Discipline is what shows up when motivation is left. Discipline is what keeps you moving when the fire in your heart has dimmed, when the excitement of starting is gone, when you are tired, hungry, frustrated, and defeated. If you want to destroy the laziness inside you, you must commit to discipline over motivation. You must understand that relying on feeling good or feeling ready is a trap that laziness sets for you, and you must refuse it. Discipline does not wait for inspiration. It creates results even when you do not feel like it. Discipline is a choice. It is a commitment to yourself that no matter how you feel, no matter how hard it is, no matter how inconvenient it is, you will do what needs to be done. Laziness thrives on waiting for the perfect condition, waiting for the perfect mood, waiting for the perfect moment. Motivation whispers, I'll do it when I feel like it. Laziness echoes back, yes. Wait, tomorrow, later, soon. Discipline does not wait. Discipline moves. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It is the refusal to let comfort dictate your destiny. It is the refusal to let excuses define your limits. It is the refusal to let your emotions steal your life. Discipline is the weapon you wield against yourself, against your laziness, against the weak version of you that wants to hide, avoid, and quit. Discipline is forged in repetition, in consistency, in showing up every single day. It is not a feeling, it is a habit. The person who wakes up at 5 a.m. to train, to study, to work on their craft, does not wait to feel motivated. They act because they have built discipline. They act because their habits are stronger than their moods. They act because they understand that the life they want will not appear in a day, a week, or a month. It is built in the grind, in the practice, in the repetition. In the moments when nobody is watching and nobody cares, motivation cannot carry you through the struggle of 1,000 small victories and 1,000,000 tiny setbacks. Discipline can, because discipline is not emotional. Discipline does not negotiate. Discipline does not care if you are tired, if you are sad, if you are frustrated. Discipline cares about results, about progress, about consistency. When you choose discipline over motivation, you take control of your destiny. You refuse to be a slave to your feelings, a victim of your comfort, a prisoner of your excuses. You stop waiting for inspiration and start creating it through action. Every time you push yourself when you do not feel like it, every time you choose the hard task over the easy one, every time you refuse to quit when quitting is tempting, you are training your mind, your body, your spirit to operate at a higher level. Laziness hates discipline. Laziness fears I. Laziness cannot survive where discipline is strong. And this is why discipline is the key to destroying the laziness inside you. Motivation will come and go, but discipline is your armor, your shield, your weapon. It protects you from yourself. It keeps you moving forward when everything inside you wants to stop. Discipline also creates freedom. You might think freedom comes from comfort, from laziness, from avoiding responsibility. But true freedom comes from control over yourself. True freedom comes from mastery over your habits, your decisions, your actions. When you are disciplined, you are not a slave to your moods, your energy, or your feelings. You are in charge. You can get up at 4 a.m. and work when everyone else is sleeping because discipline gives you strength. You can push through fatigue, push through frustration, because discipline has trained your mind to respond to action, not emotion. Laziness will never give you freedom. Comfort will never give you freedom, but discipline will. Discipline is the key to taking charge of your life and building the results that others only dream about. Discipline is also a shield against failure. Motivation can carry you through a few wins, but when failure hits, when setbacks arrive, when the world pushes back, motivation often fades. It whispers, why bother? Why keep trying? Maybe this is not for you. Discipline does not whisper. Discipline says, keep going, do it again, adjust, adapt, overcome, fight. Discipline is what allows you to rise after being knocked down, to continue after being knocked down, to continue after being rejected, to persist when everyone else gives up. It is not flashy. It is not glamorous. It is silent, but it is unstoppable. And when you commit to discipline over motivation, you build a foundation that cannot be shaken by circumstance, by emotion, by fear, or by laziness. The harsh truth is that most people fail because they rely on motivation, not discipline. They wait to feel ready. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for inspiration to strike. And while they wait, life passes them by. Dreams fade. Opportunities vanish. Potential is wasted. Motivation is like a wave. It comes and goes. But discipline is like a current. It pushes you forward no matter what. Ball fights. Discipline is what separates the winners from the dreamers, the doers from the spectators, the champions from the pretenders. If you want to destroy the laziness inside you, you must prioritize discipline. You must practice it every day. You must let it become your identity. You must be the person who does not stop when motivation fades. You must be the person who acts regardless of how you feel. Start by setting small, consistent habits. Wake up at the same time every day. Do the work even when it is uncomfortable. Complete the tasks that others avoid. Push yourself through the pain that laziness would have you avoid. And each time you do, notice how your strength grows. Notice how your ability to act despite your feelings becomes automatic. Notice how laziness loses its power over you. Discipline is built in moments like these, repeated thousands of times until it becomes unshakable. And once it becomes unshakable, laziness becomes powerless. You no longer wait for motivation because you have something stronger, the ability to act even when the fire inside you is low. Understand this, motivation is optional. The sit line is mandatory. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is permanent. Motivation can inspire you for a moment, but discipline will carry you through a lifetime. Motivation cannot build character. Discipline builds it. Motivation cannot shape habits. Discipline shapes them. Motivation cannot guarantee success. Discipline makes it inevitable. The person who destroys laziness is not the one who waits to feel like it. The person who destroys laziness is the one who refuses to wait at all. The person who destroys laziness is disciplined, consistent, relentless, and unstoppable. So choose discipline today. Choose action even when motivation is gone. Choose effort even when you feel like quitting. Choose to show up, to push through, to fight for your goals every single day. Discipline over motivation is the key. Discipline over comfort is the key. Discipline over laziness is the key. And the moment you commit to discipline, you no longer have a choice about greatness. You make it inevitable. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is not something to be avoided, something to be feared, or something to escape. Pain is the signal, the fire, the hammer that forges greatness. Pain is the catalyst that destroys laziness. Every time you feel the sting of struggle, the weight of fatigue, the burn of effort, or the ache of sacrifice, it is not a punishment. It is a message. It is your life telling you that comfort has no place in your growth, that your dreams demand more, that your potential cannot be unlocked without struggle. Laziness thrives on comfort because comfort is painless, but comfort does not produce warriors, champions, or leaders. Comfort is complacency. It produces mediocrity. Pain, on the other hand, produces strength. Pain forces you to confront yourself, your limitations, your fears, your excuses. Pain is unavoidable, but it is also unstoppable if you learn to harness it. 2, many people run from pain. They think that avoiding discomfort is the key to happiness. They think that a life without struggle is a life worth living. They wait for the easy path, the smooth road, the soft pillow, the effortless success. And while they are hiding, life moves forward. The clock keeps ticking and their potential fades. Pain is the potential fades. Pain is the price of progress. Pain is the toll of transformation. The moment you stop fearing, at the moment you stop running from it, is the moment you begin to grow. Pain is what separates the person who dreams from the person who acts. Pain is the marker between who you were yesterday and who you can be tomorrow. Laziness avoids pain, and in avoiding it, it avoids progress. To destroy laziness, you must stop avoiding pain and start using it. You must lean into it, embrace it, even crave it. You must see pain, not as a burden, but as a tool. Pain teaches you more than comfort ever could. When you are comfortable, you become soft. When life is easy, you stop learning. But when you are pushed to your limits, when your body screams, when your mind doubts, when your heart wants to quit, you are alive in a way comfort cannot touch. Pain exposes your weaknesses, but it also exposes your power. Pain reveals where you are weak, and it gives you the opportunity to get stronger. It strips away illusions, excuses, and lies. It forces you to look at yourself without filters, without rationalizations, without denial. And this is why the person who embraces pain becomes unstoppable. The person who leans into struggle, who works when tired, who fights when defeated, who keeps moving when everyone else would collapse, destroys laziness, because laziness cannot survive in the presence of relentless action. Pain demands that you act, that you adapt, that you grow, that you overcome. Pain also builds resilience. Laziness is born from the mind that can endure struggle. The moment things get hard, the moment the challenge is too great, the moment the challenge is too heavy, laziness whispers, stop, quit, delay. But when you let pain become your teacher, when you let struggle become your fuel, when you let discomfort become your ally, you build a mental toughness that refuses to quit. Every hour you train when your body is screaming, every time you push through the exhaustion, every time you continue when the world seems against you, every time you endure what others cannot endure, every time you refuse to give in to the easy choice. These are the moments pain transforms you. These are the moments laziness dies inside you. Pain is not a setback. It is a setup for power, strength, and unshakable discipline. Pain also accelerates growth. Laziness loves time wasted, days wasted, opportunities wasted, thinking that progress will come without effort. Pain is the opposite. Pain compresses the timeline. Pain forces you to act. Pain pushes you beyond your limits. Pain forces learning, adaptation, and mastery at a speed that comfort never allows. When you embrace pain, you stop making excuses. When you embrace pain, you stop waiting. When you embrace pain, you see that discomfort is temporary, but growth is permanent. Pain becomes the accelerator for the person who refuses to be lazy, the person who refuses to settle, the person who refuses to waste another second. Pain is the furnace where laziness is burned away and greatness is forged. Pain also clarifies your purpose. When the work is hard, when the grind is long, when the journey is brutal, pain sharpens your vision. It shows you what matters. It shows you what you are willing to endure for your dreams. It exposes those who are weak, those who quit, and those who settle for comfort. Pain asks the question every day, how bad do you want it? And the person who embraces it answers with action, persistence, and unrelenting effort. Laziness fears this question. Laziness hides from it. Laziness cannot stand the heat of accountability that pain demands. But you, the person who chooses to lean in, you, the person who refuses to run, will be stronger, sharper, and more capable because you allowed pain to teach you, shape you, and push you forward. Pain is also preparation for life. Life will not wait for your comfort. Life will not stop for your excuses. Life will throw challenges, obstacles, setbacks, losses, failures, and betrayals your way, whether you are ready or not. Laziness leaves you unprepared. Comfort leaves you fragile. Pain prepares you for the world. Pain makes you resilient. Pain makes you resourceful. Pain makes you relentless. Pain makes you relentless. Pain makes you unstoppable. And the person who has embraced it, who has leaned into it, who has fought through it, has developed a capacity that laziness and comfort could never give them. Pain is not punishment. It is power in disguise. It is fuel for those who refuse to quit. It is fire for those who refuse to settle. It is the hammer that breaks laziness and forges unshakable determination. To destroy laziness, you must stop avoiding pain and start embracing it. You must get comfortable with discomfort. You must train your mind to see struggle as opportunity. You must push yourself beyond what feels easy, beyond what feels normal, beyond what feels bearable. You must use the pain of the grind to remind yourself that every moment wasted in comfort is a moment lost forever. You must learn to love the challenge, respect the struggle, and crave the growth that comes from hardship. Laziness cannot survive where there is fire, where there is fire, where there is pain, where there is relentless pursuit. Pain is the catalyst that ignites action, that fuels effort, that destroys weakness, and that transforms potential into real life. Remember this: the person who wins is not the one who avoids struggle. The person who wins is the one who faces it, embraces it, and uses it. The person who wins is the one who understands that pain is not punishment, but preparation. Pain is not the enemy. It is the teacher, the coach, the fuel, the hammer, and the fire. Every burn, every ache, every struggle, every setback is a chance to rise, a chance to grow, a chance to destroy laziness, a chance to forge yourself into the person you were meant to become. Laziness cannot survive in the presence of action, effort, and persistence. Pain ensures that action happens. Pain ensures that laziness dies. Pain ensures that you become unstoppable. The moment you stop fearing discomfort and start using it as your weapon is the moment you step into a life of relentless discipline, unstoppable momentum, and extraordinary results. Embrace the pain. Lean into the struggle. Let it mold you, sharpen you, and push you further than laziness ever allowed. Let it burn away weakness, indecision, and delay. Let it ignite fire inside you, a fire that no comfort, no excuse, no laziness, and no fear can ever put out. Pain is the catalyst, the tool, the secret weapon for anyone serious about destroying the laziness inside themselves and building a life that demands greatness, persistence, and unrelenting action. Momentum is the secret weapon that separates those who act from those who procrastinate, those who succeed from those who stay stagnant. But momentum is not born from giant leaps. It is not born from waiting for inspiration to strike or from waiting for the perfect day to begin. Momentum is built one small win at a time. It is created in the accumulation of tiny victories, the consistent execution of small actions, the refusal to let even the smallest task go undone. Laziness thrives when you believe that only massive, immediate aid, percussion counts. Laziness wants you to think, if I cannot do it all at once, why bother at all? And in that moment of hesitation, the opportunity to start, the opportunity to build momentum slips through your fingers. Small wins are deceptively powerful because they prove something essential to your mind and your soul. You are capable. You can act. You can achieve. And once you realize that, laziness has nowhere to hide. A small win is not insignificant. A small win is the spark that lights the fire of confidence. It is the evidence that you are moving, that you are capable, that you are not the person who sits idle while life passes you by. Every time you wake up on time, every time you finish a task you have been avoiding, every time you push through when your body says quit, you are claiming a small victory. And these victories, repeated day after day, compound into momentum. Momentum is what carries you through the days when you do not feel like it, through the weeks when challenges pile up, through the months when laziness whispers, stop, it's too hard. Momentum does not require emotion. Momentum does not require motivation. Momentum only requires action, and once it starts moving, it builds itself. One small win leads to another and another and another and another until the force of your consistency becomes unstoppable. Small wins also break the paralysis that laziness creates. Laziness loves overwhelm because overwhelm paralyzes you. Laziness wants you to stare at the mountain ahead of you and think, I cannot climb this. It is too high. It is too much. But when you break the mountain into small steps, when you tackle it piece by piece, when you celebrate each foothold gain, suddenly the climb becomes manageable. Suddenly you see progress. Suddenly your mind shifts from fear and hesitation to focus and action. Small wins create evidence They create proof that, your effort is not wasted, that your time is not lost, that you are capable of moving forward. Laziness dies in the presence of evidence. When you see yourself succeeding in small ways, your confidence grows and the next challenge becomes easier to face. Momentum is contagious and small wins are its starting point. Small wins are also about training your mind to act. Laziness thrives when you overthink, when you wait for the perfect conditions, when you allow fear, doubt, or indecision to rule your choices. By consistently winning in small ways, you train your brain to respond to action rather than hesitation. You teach yourself that starting is more important than waiting, that doing something is better than doing nothing, that effort compounded over time beats occasional brilliance every time. Momentum is built, not in a single heroic effort, but in the repeated practice of action, of discipline, of showing up even when it is uncomfortable. And once your mind is trained to act, laziness loses its power. Laziness cannot compete with habit, with consistency, with momentum. Small wins are the building blocks of that unstoppable habit. Small wins also create a psychological advantage. Laziness wants you to believe that progress is impossible, that change is too far away, that your effort does not matter. Small wins prove the opposite. They remind you that every action counts. They remind you that progress is not a single event, but a continuous process. They remind you that you are in control, that you are capable, that you have the power to shape your life. The compounding effect of these wins cannot be overstated. One day, the small victories that seem insignificant in isolation suddenly become a tidal wave of momentum that carries you past challenges that once seemed impossible. Laziness is left behind, unable to keep up, unable to regain control, and ultimately powerless against the force you have built. Momentum also protects you from the trap of waiting for motivation. Motivation is temporary. Motivation is unreliable. Motivation will vanish the moment discomfort appears. But momentum, once built, is unstoppable. When you have momentum, you act even when motivation is gone. When you have momentum, you push through even when emotion says stop. When you have momentum, you keep moving forward because you had. It proven to yourself that action produces results. Each small win you claim becomes a brick in the foundation of momentum. And once that foundation is strong, laziness has nowhere to stand. Momentum carries you forward long after motivation has left the room. Another aspect of small wins is that they build resilience. Each victory, no matter how small, is a reminder that you are capable of pushing through. Each success, each completed task, each challenge met is a lesson in persistence. And as persistence grows, laziness shrinks. The more victories you stack, the more proof you have that your effort matters, that your sacrifice matters, that your action produces results. Resilience grows in the small moments, in the micro decisions, in the repeated choices to do what must be done, even when you would rather avoid it. Momentum is the reward for that resilience, and resilience is built on small wins. Small wins also teach accountability. Laziness thrives when there's no measurement, when there's no consequence, when there's no proof of action. But every small win is a marker, a checkpoint, a reminder of your progress. They show you where you are, where you have been, and where you are going. They force you to confront reality. They give you the chance to adjust, to improve, to double down. Laziness cannot survive where there is clarity. Momentum cannot be built without visibility. Each small win is evidence that you are moving, and the accumulation of these wins creates a force that pushes you towards your larger goals, towards your bigger dreams, toward the destruction of every habit of inaction. Finally, small wins create a snowball effect that is impossible to ignore. The more you achieve, the more you are motivated to achieve. The more you act, the easier it becomes to act again. The more victories you claim, the more powerful momentum becomes until it becomes and the dogfight, stoppable. Laziness is crushed beneath the weight of this forward motion. The person who understands the power of small wins does not wait for motivation, does not wait for opportunity, and does not wait for the perfect conditions. They act consistently, relentlessly, and deliberately. They win small battles every day, and in doing so, they create the unstoppable momentum that carries them past laziness, past doubt, past fear, past delay, and straight into the life they were meant to live. So start now. Claim every small win you can. Wake up on time. Complete a task. Make that call. Send that email. Push yourself just a little further than yesterday. Each small win builds momentum. Each small victory strengthens your resolve. Each action chips away at laziness and builds the unstoppable force that is your future self. Do not underestimate the power of small wins. Do not ignore the momentum they create. Do not allow laziness to convince you that only giant leaps matter. Giant leaps are built on the back of small wins. Momentum is built on the accumulation of repeated action. Laziness cannot survive in the presence of movement, of consistency, of small victories that add up to unstoppable momentum. Start small, start now, and watch as your life begins to move with the force you have created. Your environment is not just a backdrop for your life. It is a force that shapes who you become. Every person you spend time with, every place you inhabit, every habit that surrounds you, every media you consume, every conversation you engage in, these are the building blocks of your character, your discipline, your focus, and your drive. Laziness does not exist in a vacuum. It is not born from thin air. Laziness grows where conditions allow it to flourish, where distractions are abundant, where accountability is absent, where energy is misdirected, and where ambition is ignored. The people, spaces, and systems around you dictate more than you realize how hard you push, how far you reach, and whether you choose comfort over growth. If you want to destroy the laziness inside you, you must first destroy the environment that allows it to thrive. Your environment can be a trap or a launch pad. It can be the cage that holds you back or the wind beneath your wings. When you are surrounded by mediocrity, laziness becomes normalized. When you spend time with people who complain, delay, procrastinate, or settle, their habits rub off on you. Their excuses, their fear of discomfort, their preference for comfort over effort become a mirror for your own choices. You may think you are acting independently, that your mind is separate, that your willpower is strong enough to resist the pull of laziness, but the truth is far more subtle and far more powerful. The environment you inhabit seeps into your mind. Every conversation, every interaction, every habitual behavior that surrounds you reinforces either action or inaction. Your environment whispers in your ear constantly, shaping your decisions, reinforcing your patterns, and silently dictating the trajectory of your life. Your surroundings also set the standard for what you consider normal. If you spend time in spaces cluttered with distraction, chaos, and inefficiency, your brain begins to accept that disorder as standard. Laziness thrives in such disorder because it thrives where standards are low, where accountability is absent, where responsibility is absent, On the other hand, if you surround yourself with discipline, focus, clarity, and ambition, your mind begins to absorb those qualities. You begin to see higher standards as normal. You begin to demand more from yourself because you are constantly being reminded of what effort looks like, what consistency looks like, what persistence looks like. You, raw environment does not just influence your actions. It defines the lens through which you view what is possible for your life. Media and information are part of your environment. What you watch, listen to, read, or scroll through shapes your mind far more than you realize. Laziness grows in minds that are numbed by endless entertainment, passive consumption, and distraction. Every hour spent strolling, watching, or binging without purpose trains your brain to seek ease, comfort, and instant gratification. Every click, every swipe, every passive moment reinforces inactivity. But the opposite is also true. Consume content that educates, inspires, challenges, and stretches your understanding. Consume habits that expand your mind, sharpen your focus, and ignite your drive. Environment is not just physical, it is mental, it is informational. And if your environment is not feeding your growth, it is feeding your laziness. The people you surround yourself with are arguably the most influential part of your environment. You become the average of those you spend the most time with. If the people around you are unmotivated, inconsistent, or careless, their habits rub off. If they settle for mediocrity, complain endlessly, or avoid responsibility, Their behavior sends a subtle message. Laziness is acceptable. But when you surround yourself with people who are disciplined, focused, hungry for progress, relentless in pursuit of goals, and unwilling to settle, you cannot help but be elevated. Their energy, their drive, their habits, and their standards create an environment where laziness cannot survive. Your choices begin to reflect the behavior of those around you. Environment shapes behavior, and behavior shapes your destiny. Physical spaces also matter. Cluttered, chaotic, disorganized, or distracting spaces breed procrastination in action. If you wake up to a messy room, that's full of distractions or a chaotic schedule. Your mind interprets that as permission to act disorderly, inefficiently, and lazily. But a clean, organized, intentional space sends a different message. Focus, discipline, and action are expected. The energy of your surroundings influences your energy. The layout of your life, your room, your workspace, even the lighting and atmosphere can either pull you toward comfort and avoidance or push you toward action and growth. Laziness will always exploit the weak signals in your environment. But by controlling your surroundings, you control the signals and you control your behavior. Habits and routines are another critical part of your environment. When your days are unstructured, when priorities are undefined, when tasks are left to chance, laziness sneaks in and dominates. But when you create intentional routines, when you establish habits that reinforce productivity, discipline, and consistent effort, you leave no room for laziness to grow. Your environment becomes your ally, guiding you to take action without relying on fleeting motivation. Every habit is an environmental cue. It tells your brain what to do, how to act, and what is expected. Build an environment where action is automatic, where small wins are inevitable, where momentum builds naturally. Laziness cannot survive in such a system. Even the emotional and social climate you inhabit influences your drive. If your environment is full of negativity, doubt, criticism, and fear, it feeds the part of your brain that wants to stay safe, comfortable, and inactive. If your environment is supportive, encouraging, challenging, and full of accountability, it pushes you to act, to risk, to grow, and to conquer laziness. You cannot rely solely on willpower. Willpower is finite, fragile, and temporary, but the environment you create for yourself is persistent, subtle, and unrelenting in shaping your behavior. The harsh truth is this: you cannot outrun your environment. You cannot rely on raw talent, occasional inspiration, or sporadic effort to destroy laziness if your environment continues to reinforce it. Laziness is sneaky. It hides in your surroundings. It hides in your habits. It hides in your media, your conversations, your routines, and even your physical spaces. If you want to destroy it, you must attack it at its source. You must create an environment that supports action, enforces discipline, rewards effort, and normalizes consistency. You must build a life where laziness has nowhere to take root, nowhere to hide, nowhere to thrive. So examine your environment. Examine the people, spaces, routines, media, and habits that shape your life. Ask yourself, is this environment helping me destroy laziness, or is it feeding it? Are the people around me inspiring action or encouraging inaction? Does my space and my schedule make me efficient and focused, or distracted and comfortable? Is the information I consume sharpening me or numbing me? Change what needs to be changed. Remove what is toxic, distracting, or counterproductive. Surround yourself with energy, clarity, accountability, and ambition. Fill your life with spaces, people, routines, and habits that demand more from you than laziness can deliver. Environment shapes behavior, and behavior shapes destiny. Destroy the conditions that allow laziness to grow. Build the conditions that make action inevitable. If you want to destroy the laziness inside you, it is not enough to rely on willpower alone. You must attack your environment. Create systems of accountability. Immerse yourself in excellence and live in a space that constantly demands action. Laziness cannot survive when your environment is aligned with your goals. Discipline, momentum, and success flourish in the right environment. Your surroundings are not neutral. They are either the trap that holds you back or the wind that propels you forward. Choose wisely, act decisively, and craft an environment where laziness has no power and greatness is unavoidable. Accountability is the hidden accelerator that separates those who dream from those who achieve. It is the force that transforms good intentions into unstoppable action. Laziness thrives in isolation. Laziness whispers when no one is watching. It excuses when nobody is checking. It hides when responsibility is absent. The truth is, when you are alone in your goals, when you rely solely on your own inconsistent willpower, laziness finds a way and motivation fades. Excuses emerge, and you find yourself waiting, hesitating, delaying, postponing. But when accountability enters the equation, laziness loses its power. When someone else knows your goals, when someone else can check your progress, when someone else expects you to deliver, your mind changes. You cannot hide behind comfort or weakness. You cannot rationalize. You cannot stall. Accountability multiplies action because it forces you to show up, to deliver, to perform, even when your body, your emotions, and your laziness want you to stop. Accountability is not just about others. It is about yourself as well. You can create systems of internal accountability that are as strong as external pressure. Writing your goals down, tracking your habits, recording your progress, and reviewing your performance are all forms of self-accountability. Laziness is broken by evidence. Laziness thrives when there is no measurement, no clarity, no consequence. But when you track your actions, when you measure your performance, when you hold yourself to standards higher than your current comfort, allows laziness is exposed and defeated. You begin to see what is real and what is excuses. You begin to see that progress is not a wish. It is the product of deliberate, consistent action. Accountability turns potential into results. It turns desire into discipline. It turns laziness into unstoppable action. External accountability is equally powerful. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who push you, who question your effort, who do not allow excuses. Laziness hates confrontation. Laziness hates pressure. When you are accountable to someone else, whether a mentor, a coach, a colleague, or a partner, you suddenly realize that your choices are no longer private. Your inaction has consequences. Your excuses have visibility. Your laziness exposed. And when exposure meets responsibility, your behavior changes. You push harder. You show up more consistently. You refuse to quit. Accountability creates a culture of action. It multiplies effort. It forces you to perform at levels far beyond what you would achieve in isolation. Accountability also creates clarity. Laziness thrives in confusion, in distraction, and in uncertain. When you are unclear about your next step, when your goals are vague, when your expectations are undefined, laziness exploits that ambiguity, but accountability demands specificity. When you are accountable to someone or something, you cannot flow aimlessly. You must define your goals clearly, break them into actionable steps, set deadlines, and report on your results. Laziness cannot survive in clarity. Laziness cannot survive in clarity. Laziness cannot survive when the path is defined, the stakes are visible, and the measurement is precise. Accountability sharpens your focus and eliminates the loopholes that laziness depends on. Consistency is another way accountability multiplies action. One of the biggest weapons of laziness is the day-to-day temptation to delay, to skip, to rest, to rationalize. Accountability forces you to show up repeatedly. It forces daily execution. It forces habit formation. When someone else is counting on you, when your actions are tracked, when your progress is reported, it becomes almost impossible to skip, postpone, or delay. Accountability transforms sporadic effort into relentless consistency. Consistency kills laziness. Momentum is built. Habits are cemented. Results multiply. You begin to see that small, repeated actions compounded over time lead to extraordinary outcomes. And the person you become is no longer defined by hesitation, but by relentless movement. Accountability also reinforces courage. Laziness loves comfort and avoidance. It wants you to hide, to stay safe, to avoid challenges. But accountability removes the option of hiding. When you are accountable, you are forced to face your weaknesses, to confront your fears, to tackle challenges head on. Laziness cannot survive when courage is required every single day. Accountability forces you to risk, to act boldly, to refuse mediocrity. Every action taken under the pressure of accountability strengthens your resilience, sharpens your focus, and conditions you to thrive under discomfort. The longer you embrace accountability, the stronger you become, and the less power laziness has over your mind and your actions. Accountability also creates momentum in ways that motivation alone cannot. Motivation is fleeting, inconsistent, and unreliable. Laziness laughs at inspiration when it is temporary, but accountability is persistent. Accountability is structural. Accountability is a system. It forces action day after day, week after week, month after month, creating a compounding effect that multiplies every effort you make. The more accountable you are, the more action you take. The more action you take, the stronger your results. The stronger your results, the more confidence you gain. And the more confidence you gain, the easier it becomes to act even. When no one is watching, accountability creates an upward spiral of success that laziness cannot touch. Finally, accountability creates legacy. Laziness keeps you small. Laziness keeps you hidden. Laziness ensures that potential goes unfulfilled. But accountability forces action. It ensures that your goals are not just intentions, but realities. It ensures that you are doing what is necessary consistently to build the life you envision. Every action taken under accountability is a brick in the foundation of your future. Every decision to refuse excuses, every step to push harder, every effort to show up transforms your potential into impact. Accountability guarantees that your work, your growth, and your effort multiply. Laziness cannot compete with that. Laziness cannot survive where results are demanded, where effort is visible, and where responsibility is unavoidable. The harsh truth is that no one achieves greatness alone. Laziness is defeated not by fleeting motivation, not by hope, not by talent, not by intention. It is defeated by accountability. The person who destroys laziness is the person who refuses to hide, refuses to delay, refuses to rationalize, and chooses systems, people, habits, and structures that demand action. Accountability amplifies your effort, multiplies your results, strengthens your character, and leaves no room for excuses. If you want to destroy the laziness inside you, you must embrace accountability in every form, internal, external, personal, relational, professional, and let it shape your life, your behavior, and your results. Start today by committing to accountability. Share your goals, track your progress, review your actions. Surround yourself with people who will challenge you, who will push you, who will hold you to your promises. Demand from yourself the same rigor you demand from others. Every moment of accountability is a step toward eliminating laziness. Every repeated action under accountability builds consistency. Every challenge faced, every risk taken, every task completed, every habit submitted multiplies action, strengthens your mind, and transforms your potential into reality. Laziness cannot survive when accountability is alive. It cannot survive when responsibility is embraced. It cannot survive when action is inevitable. Accountability is the multiplier, the catalyst, and the weapon that turns intention into execution, weakness into strength, and laziness into relentless productivity. The moment you embrace accountability, you take power from laziness and place it squarely in your hands. The moment you refuse to let excuses go unchecked, the moment you demand results, the moment you make action unavoidable, you step into a life where laziness cannot exist. Every small decision matters. Every repeated act compounds. Every check, every report, every standard enforced multiplies action exponentially. Accountability is not optional. It is essential. It is the lever that transforms effort into achievement, habits into results, and ordinary people into unstoppable forces. Embrace accountability, multiply your action, and destroy laziness once and for all. Now, listen closely, because this is the moment where it all comes together. You've heard the truths, the strategies, the challenges, and the brutal realities about laziness, but knowing them is not enough. You must act. Laziness will always whisper. It will tell you to wait. It will tell you tomorrow is better. It will tell you that you deserve rest before the fight, that the struggle is too hard. that someone else will do it for you. But the difference between the person who dreams and the person who achieves is not talent, not luck, not opportunity. It is action. It is the relentless refusal to listen to those lies. It is the refusal to let your own comfort, your own excuses, your own fears dictate the life you are capable of living. You cannot wait for motivation. You cannot wait for the perfect time. You must act now, and you must act consistently. Every single one of us has a choice in this moment. You can choose to let laziness control your life, to let the easy path define your limits, to settle for mediocrity, to dream small while watching others soar, or you can choose to destroy it. You can choose to face the pain, to embrace discipline, to commit to accountability, to structure your environment, to celebrate small wins, to turn struggle into your fuel, and to allow momentum to carry you past every temptation to quit. Every time you choose action over inaction, every time you push through discomfort, every time you refuse to settle, you are taking another brick out of the prison that laziness built for you. You are building the life you were meant to live. Think about the person you want to become. Picture them vividly. See their strength, their confidence, their discipline, their unstoppable drive. That person is not born. They are forged. They are forged through pain, through struggle, through consistency, and through the relentless refusal to give in to laziness. And here's the truth. Every second you wait, every excuse you allow, every delay is another moment that version of yourself is not alive. If you want to meet them, if you want to become them, you have to start now, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, and when the struggle hits, and it will remember this, discomfort is not the enemy. Failure is not the end. Laziness is not stronger than you. Every challenge is an opportunity to rise. Every challenge is an opportunity to rise. Every pain is a lesson. Every setback is a setup for an even greater comeback. The moment you realize that your life is the product of your choices, that your greatness is only limited by your willingness to act, that your laziness is a shadow that disappears in the light of discipline and the momentum is the moment everything changes. So I'm leaving you with this final truth. Destroy the laziness inside you, not for anyone else, not for recognition, not for applause, but for yourself, for the life you are capable of, for the person you were meant to be, for the dreams that demand you to show up. Start small, stay consistent, embrace discomfort, leverage accountability, and build unstoppable momentum. Your time is now. Your action is now. Your life is now. Laziness has had its chance. It ends today. Step forward, fight, and become the person you refuse to settle for anything less than becoming.